It would be fair to say that Red Bull's season has not gone the way they would have wanted so far. Max Verstappen is trying his hardest to stay in contention for the Drivers' Championship, but with the pace McLaren have and the problems with the RB21, they're starting to take effect as he falls away from championship leader Oscar Piastri. Sergio Perez's replacement was a massive mistake, and after 2 races, Lawson had to be swapped out for Tsunoda. It has been a difficult few months for team principal Christian Horner, who will have been hoping for an easy start to the season after the difficult year he had in 2024. But sadly for him, that hasn't been the case. And now, reports are suggesting that his time at Red Bull could be coming to an end. Today, I'll check out what the future might hold for Christian Horner, so don't go anywhere. I'll get straight into it with this one. If reports out of Austria, where Red Bull is based, are to be believed, then Christian Horner could be out of a job after this weekend's Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. From the moment that Red Bull made their debut F1 appearance as its own team in 2005, Horner has been their team boss. He's managed to lead the team to 6 Constructors' Championships and 8 Drivers' Championships to date, as well as backing junior talents such as Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen, and turning them into legends of the sport. However, Horner's reign as the longest-serving team principal on the grid could be coming to a close after the very next race of the 2025 season, if widespread reports are to be believed. Red Bull are expected to bring a big upgrade package to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and if it doesn't have a positive impact on the team's performance, then the long-serving team principal could pay the price. There have been issues this year which can't be overlooked. The car's performance is not good enough, with Max Verstappen and Helmut Marko being incredibly critical of it after the Miami Grand Prix, where Verstappen finished almost 40 seconds off the leader Oscar Piastri. If it weren't for Verstappen's heroics in a car that looks barely capable of points in the hands of Yuki Tsunoda, Red Bull's season would have been an utter disaster so far. Luckily for Horner, the 4-time world champion is capable of finding performance in a car that has terrible balance and is a monster to handle. However, there have been longer-term issues for Horner which have had an impact on his standing within the team. Reports of friction between the team boss and the Verstappen camp have been popping up for a few seasons now, but at the start of 2024, they turned up to another level. The tension seemed to hit a peak when Horner was accused of coercive and inappropriate text messages by an employee, though an investigation ruled out any wrongdoing. The accusations came with a Google Drive full of screenshotted messages from Horner which allegedly showed proof of his behavior. While he was eventually cleared, the accusations created a rift in the team. The Verstappen camp demanded Horner stand down from the team. Helmut Marko questioned whether he was still suitable to lead them, and Adrian Newey left after almost 20 years with Red Bull to join Aston Martin instead. How much of an effect Newey's exit has had on Red Bull is unknown, but the significant downturn in performance a year after he has departed would suggest it did have an impact. Throughout the whole investigation, though, Horner has had the backing of the Thai-backed majority owners of Red Bull. However, the Austrian-based board members, led by Mark Mateschitz, son of the late founder of Red Bull, were on the other side of the argument and wanted Horner gone at the start of last season. With the current crisis of performance and reports that the engine project that Horner so desperately wanted isn't going well, the Thai owners are reportedly having a rethink. The reports are also saying that their sources have told them that multiple replacements are being considered. One possibility is former Alpine boss Oliver Oakes. The Briton resigned from Alpine just a few days ago, and the team and Ollie have offered no explanation as to why. Another option is Franz Tost, who led the second Red Bull team in Formula 1 for years. Tost had to vacate his position after disagreements with Horner at the end of 2023. At the moment, Christian is contracted to Red Bull until the 2030 season, and earlier this year said his commitment to the team remains absolute. While the reports on Horner's future have come from a number of countries and appear to be independent, the claims are quite shocking. We'll have to wait and see until after Imola to see if there's anything to them. Whether Horner is going to be involved or not, next season will be a historic one for Red Bull. It'll be the first time ever that Red Bull have had their own power unit in the car. The self-perpetuating rumor is that Mercedes will start the new regulations with the strongest engine, as they did in 2014. Reports and leaks from within the factory seem to indicate that they are well ahead of schedule with their development, and their testing results have been promising. At the other end of the expected performance spectrum, Red Bull are believed to be performing worse than they would hope. That opinion has developed over time as Red Bull have voiced concerns and complaints about the new regulations, indicating that the results of their testing are not what they hoped for. Red Bull also spearheaded failed attempts to get the new regulations delayed or completely changed. Ahead of the new regulations coming in, Ford has released a statement explaining what has been happening behind the scenes and telling the world about the progress in their factory. It just continues to grow stronger every day, Ford performance boss Mark Rushbrook said. Ever since the very first discussion leading to signing the contract, and to be honest, work already started before the contract was signed. Overall, we're on track of what we are delivering to the development of the ICE and the electric components. Obviously, there is still a lot of work to do and a lot of durability to prove out, but in terms of the partnership, the openness and the two-way contribution, it is everything that we wanted and even more than we thought. Ford's original involvement in the project was to provide the electrical components, while Red Bull would produce the internal combustion engine. Over time, though, the role of Ford has changed and their involvement has increased. Why that has happened is a point worth pondering. Have they had to step in due to the shortcomings of the Red Bull powertrains project? That would match up with the theory that Red Bull have been struggling. Rushbrook went on to confirm that Ford is contributing more to the Red Bull project than originally envisaged. The initial focus or agreement was mostly on the electrification side, he said. But in terms of the number of components that we are able to build within our advanced manufacturing facility and with our printing machines, it has become more than that, and we're able to contribute real-time in the development phase. We're literally making parts every day and shipping parts from Dearborn every day that are being tested in the labs in Milton Keynes. Many of those will actually go into production as well. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner has acknowledged that this joint program is taking on manufacturers with decades of experience in F1, meaning that the challenge is significant. Asked if Red Bull and Ford at least hit all the internal milestones, Rushbrook responds, "Yes, but there's always expectations, right? Because you never hit anything 100%. But in terms of hitting the power numbers, absolutely. But then the durability testing has to match that and has to follow that." Building a successful F1 engine in the modern era is as much about power as it is about reliability. Long gone are the days where just surviving a race would often be good enough to earn yourself a points finish. To compete for championships now, you have to be on par in terms of performance with the other teams, and your engine also has to work perfectly at every race. Anything less is seen as a failure. Finding that durability and reliability will be vital to the Red Bull team. The big problem for Red Bull and Ford is that they may be hitting their own milestones and achieving a standard that they think is good enough, but they can never know how they actually match up to the other teams. Their performance targets could be a percentage point or two less than Mercedes or Hondas or Ferraris. They have no way of knowing if they're aiming for the same target as the rest of the grid. They just have to hope that what they are achieving is good enough to keep them competitive with everyone else. That is the hardest part of developing these new regulations, and if you set your bar too low internally, then there may be no coming back. Do you think Horner is actually at risk of losing his position at Red Bull if the team doesn't improve their performance? And do you think the team's new engine will be up to the standard next season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.